Well, here we are again. It is September 1st, 2022. I just got back from the Thursday night men's closed discussion meeting. It was a good conversation, larger group than usual. Saw a familiar face from the past. A guy that I actually went to treatment with in 2016. He looked okay, but he's just getting started again. He actually asked me to be his sponsor, and I turned him down. I made whatever, rationalizations or justifications or whatever it is I do, just told him I wouldn't be the best choice just because of my schedule. And I could give him my number, and I could see him at meetings, I could tell him where I go, and I'm good at text messages. And if he called me and needed, I could talk to him, I could get back to him. But just most times I would just not be on demand available. And, he might seek, counsel and guidance elsewhere. But I could, definitely give him my number, and so I did. But I don't expect to, I probably will never see him again. A lot of people, they don't like to be recognized. And then people have some sort of already formed opinion or something. Where it's like, oh, this guy, he already knows me. So he doesn't get I don't know. But I liked being able to talk about some old names that like no one else remembers, but no one else around here. Owen, Scott, Keith. Here, we talked about them a little bit. And James. Didn't get around to talking about Carter or Mark. Or, yeah. These are just anonymous names. They're anybody. They're your name. They're my name. They're anybody's name. It's very anonymous. And this is from a long time ago in a faraway, distant galaxy. So, anyway, I'm preserving my end of the bargain. So, anyway, this morning I went for a run. I woke up very early. It was like 4 o'clock, 4:30 this morning, and I just decided, I had already decided I was going to go for a run, but I just didn't know when, and I decided that that was a good time to go ahead and just get it started while it was dark. I didn't have to worry about the UV index, because the UV index would be 0. And I didn't have to worry about the temperature, because it would be nice and cool, which it was. About 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So it was awesome, though poorly lit. And I did make my usual route. And I actually had to go a little bit slower because I couldn't see. I was just going by memory of the path and hoping that nothing was changed. Because if somebody had put something, or something became an obstruction that I was not, it's like I had to remember everything. It's like, well, there's that divot there, there's that crack there, there's that pothole there, there's that little seam, or I think the sidewalk changes this way a little bit. So I had to remember everything. And so I went a little bit slower. And I didn't have a misstep. Almost had one. And then I was thinking about going underneath the highway and then out past Blue Heron Park. And I was like, that's very dark. And I was like, I don't know. Even from memory, that'd be a little bit. And then there's like water, it was flooded. And I wasn't sure about mud. And it's like, I don't want to slip and fall down there. And yeah, so I decided against that and just continued around the graveyard and cemetery and went back out, and I made my rounds. It was a good run. And by the time I got back out to the college, it was starting to get light out and I could see better. And I made a nice little circuit, a little bit adapted on the fly to accommodate for not going out past the Frisbee Park and Blue Heron. But I still managed a respectable 7777, adding to the tally of miles in March that I don't have to run. So today was another 8.7 miles at a 9-minute mile pace. That's what I give myself credit for. I still think I'm holding to that. I might need to recalibrate my senses of how fast I'm running. But I think about a 9-minute mile pace is fair. You know, I'm doing faster miles at the beginning than towards the end, but you know, I think it averages out. And by the time I get to 1,000, which I think I will, I'll just continue and pad it out. And then if I make it to, what would it be, 10-minute miles, I guess that would be, I don't know. I'll figure it out. It's math. I should know it, but I'm just not as good at math as I used to be. But I would just be dividing by 10 instead of dividing by 9, whatever my time is cumulative, which is what I've been keeping track of. So it'll be interesting. So we'll see. Oh, and yeah, and the house meeting for this building I live in, all the tenants, getting together to have an accountability meeting. Tonight was the designated night, apparently after having changed it and constantly changing the time and location. And it's just all phony and false and fake and made up to give some sense of solidarity or illusion, or who knows what the point is. It's not recovery to me, and I'm not accountable to them. Sitting in the dark at the picnic table out front, that's what they're calling a meeting. It feels like, to me, it's just a waste of time. If that's the support and their get-together, if that works for them, and I know that's not what all of them, I know other people are doing other things that work for them, and they're also doing that, but I'm not going to. That's the thing. It's like I just had come from a meeting and the meeting after the meeting, and I'm not going to sit there in the dark with people that I do not wish to associate with, or I don't really have anything in common with. Funny enough, I'm not going to pretend at it. That's the thing. I'm not going to pretend at it, make a show of it, and I don't know. It just feels like a waste of time. So I just came back, and they asked, how's it going now? Very good. And I just kept on going. And yeah. So I didn't want to interrupt, and I didn't want to be interrupted. I already had my plan for the evening, and it did not involve, because that meeting will not last. And it's not a requirement, and it's not a prerequisite. If it was mandatory or compulsory, I might consider it, but it is not. And it is not part of my life, and it's not part of my program. And it's not because I'm better than anybody. It's just... Anyway. So, one of my little gripes. But, I don't know. But it was interesting for that, to see that guy at the meeting tonight. Brought back some memories. Because I told them too before the meeting, it's like it was a good time. At the worst of times, it was a good time. And when things were all working against me, things were working for me. And whatever it was, however it was, especially like at the treatment center, I've described it before, and maybe people don't like it, I don't know, but for me it was like going to camp. I never got to go to camp when I was a kid. And drug and alcohol rehabilitation center, yeah, for 3 months. Yeah, that was awesome. I had fun. It was totally different than anything else that I ever thought I would experience in my life, and being treated like I don't know, I was getting the help I needed, and being treated like an alcoholic, because that's what I am. Hmm? Yes, yes. But I still feel autistic first, who used alcohol as their treatment method for some unknown reason. That was my coping skill for being autistic. And now that I am aware of being autistic and understanding that alcohol is not a treatment, it exacerbates and aggravates everything and makes my life impossible. So, as long as I keep reminding myself that I am autistic, then alcohol is not a solution. Then it's like the same thing with smoking. I can't afford to have just one cigarette. Same way I can't afford to have just one drink. It won't be just one. I will begin to think of it as a crutch again. As a, hey, I can get away with this. Ooh, I cannot get away with it. I never was getting away with it. I was just affording consequences to be paid later. So, anyway, like whatever I'm doing now, I'm still affording consequences. But I'm willing to pay them. At least I keep investing. So it's like, I think, yeah. So anyway, at least if I'm making mistakes, I'm making better mistakes. As difficult as that might sound. I'm making mistakes that it's like, yeah, we'll see what happens. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I don't know. It's the same thing it comes back to. I might not be right, but I cannot be wrong. So, and I'm still doing better, no matter what. On reflection, in remembrance, I'm still doing better than whoever it is I used to do all the time. Even on my worst days now, still better than how it used to be. Because I didn't really have good days back then. I was just surviving. Now I'm alive. There's a difference there. A hell of a difference. And it might not mean much to anybody else. And it might not matter. But this is my life. And it matters to me. So, and from there is the foundation and bedrock of the rest of my days. Today is the precursor to tomorrow. And I am not afraid. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe something, maybe nothing. But I have so much less to be afraid of. It doesn't mean I'm fearless, and it doesn't mean I don't get stressed out. It just means I'm less afraid. Because no one can really hurt me like I know how to hurt myself. No one can really offend me or insult me like I know how to offend and insult myself. So, one of those things. And I'm also living just the one life. And I don't have any stories to spin or weave or keep track of. I've just got the one story, the true one. And if anybody has any doubts or uncertainties or, worries or concerns about it, it's like, let them. People can think whatever they're going to think because they're going to think it anyway. People can believe whatever they're going to believe because they're going to believe it anyway. And they can say whatever they want to say because they're going to say it anyway. It doesn't make it true. So, yeah. And I'm not in charge of what other people say, think, do, whatever their perspective is. I'll just try to do whatever it is I do to the best of my ability. And never mind the perceptions of others, because I am not in charge and I cannot control what they, So, count my blessings and keep counting. So, I don't know. I'm just glad for my problems today. The problems I can work on. So, anyway, I should go. Gotta be up in a few hours and go do whatever it is I do to afford this luxury of these walls and this freedom until I figure out what I'm going to do next. Who knows? Sky's the limit.